Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. I'm your host, Malik Forte, joined at the desk today by Zoe, Josh, and Matt, who and I used to play professionally, Morello, Mr. X.
Yeah, I'm the only one of those broadcast teams that can say that.
No, that's so
We got Johnny.
true.
We got Johnny in the back now.
Wait.
You do realize
Matt,
that I
are you
used to be a pro
serious?
player too.
We played
yeah,
the
true.
same
Me
game.
and Malik played the same
And
game. That's a
Malik.
lie. I already lied to you.
So the only one
I
on
lied
the
to
desk
you.
who hasn't played
I used to play
professionally.
it on a
Yeah.
top team in a previous game. I mean, my total lifetime earnings were about £300, British sterling.
All right, I have one more than that.
There you go. It was maybe a bigger game though. I was better at my respective time.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
I
we're
hear,
gonna
I
do
hear,
this?
Yep.
I was the aimman.
Can we fast forward?
Oh,
Can we
come
fast forward
on.
to the next talent takedown already? I just want to make it happen already, guys. All right, well, let's get into the matches today. So the question coming in was, can Vancouver outlast the wackiness of Chengdu's play style in our matchup that just happened? And at the half, it was tied. But Hollywood will bring about even more wackiness from the Hunters side. We got to see Ash at one point doing this map, but the Titans were still able to pull this one out in the end.
Yeah, but I mean, it was close in the very end. It almost looked like Chengdu Hunters are holding the fort down, but then they, didn't. However, I do think it was overall still a close-looking series, and the Hunters can be proud of that one. I think that was a quality loss.
All right, I'm going to flip this one on its head and say I think the Hunters threw and they should be disappointed.
Wow,
I think
you are a mean person.
I know.
They
But-
did,
I
though.
just
But
don't
here's the
even-
reason. They actually looked pretty competent on defense, but as soon as on offense, but as soon as they got to defense, they just rolled over after point A. Their point A defense was pretty good. And then B and C, they just gifted it to them. It's like the Vancouver Titans came at them with a voucher for free point
But like,
B and C.
what is this? Like when I saw them come out on Havana, I was like, what is going on? Like,
I think they gave up,
What was
honestly.
Their defense was pretty good.
Oh
this
yeah,
map, which
yeah.
was weird.
No,
The
but
direct
the
opposite.
offense. Like, can you imagine the halftime talk? Like, all right, guys, remember that strat on offense? We're gonna come out with the Sim, the Batiste, the Roadhog. You guys remember that one, right?
Yeah, I
It's
remember
like, oh
that.
yeah, that one definitely worked. Let's
I've
try
seen
it.
that in my flat games.
But like, I would love to know. Who like how that works though.
I think this is one
Like-
of their comps that they used to run against bunker compositions.
They ran it on
melts
King's
Orisa
Row.
shields.
They used to run it on King's Row on offense. Remember they would
yeah.
teleport
Oh, yeah,
like
you're
the
right.
Orisa?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
it works so much better when you have the Rhine right next to you because you just melt his shield down. But on Havana, it's so open that they just run away. And it's like Chengdu were there trying to laser them down with the Sim, and they're like, "No, come
No,
back."
well, it also works
Come
on.
back, I need to get
it also
value.
works on hybrid because they have to attack and defend a point. Like,
Yeah.
The point is the moving cart.
I
So
know.
like they have to continue to move with the point.
I don't
So,
really
like,
understand it. Even from like a what were they trying to achieve point of view, you normally put yourself in the position as us as the analysts.
It's the Hunter
trying to
way, man. You
understand.
have to be wacky
They
and
out-hunted
unpredictable.
themselves.
They
They did.
Chengdu themselves.
I
guys.
still think this is unfair. I do think that it was still a close game. If we taking Havana kind of out of the equation, and even on Hollywood, like they almost did hold it in the end.
They had close moments, but it was like they were close to making it close. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they were close to taking it to maybe a fifth, but they never
it's
looked
like,
like they could.
you're
win.
like you're like minus like 14 in map count and 7 and 11.
Do you think the
need to
last time
win.
they met, it was closer?
Yeah, I mean, it went to map 5 last time.
But
They
that
had
doesn't
their
mean
chances
anything.
on Nepal. Yeah, no, I do think it was closer last time.
It was
Yeah,
close.
last time Vancouver threw.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, okay, that
That's
doesn't
why it
make
was
it
closer.
close.
I think if Chengdu would have found certain points to tighten up their gameplay, they could have won this match.
Yeah.
But instead, the Titans win, and with that win, they clinched a top 12 finish in our standings, which means they're going to, at the very least, get into the play-in for our playoffs this year. So congratulations to the Vancouver Titans.
If they only make the play-in, if
Yeah,
the
no.
Titans
If they
somehow
lose out,
only make the
if they
play-in.
lose out all their matches, they'll make the
They
play-in.
just come out with the bums though every match. Just like
All right, guys, well, let's move on to our next match. Now, our first match of the day was for our team of the day, the NYXL. They played against the London Spitfire, who they 4-0'd mercilessly just a couple of weeks ago. So what kind of adjustments would the reigning champions make on NYXL night? We got some Prophet Sombra, which was interesting. And no, it wasn't a losing effort. I think that the Spitfire looked a lot better this time around.
They really did. We discussed it during halftime. They did definitely come in with a game plan. They knew this time. They expected the Sombra, and they did their very best to try and play around it. So they kind of changed their approach. We're a lot more aggressive than what we saw the first time they met this stage. So overall, I do think that London Spitfire definitely looked a lot better this time around.
I really like the play from Fury in this series. Like, I thought,
it's the hero that guy can't play.
no, I mean, I thought his Pharah was good. We've seen him play Zarya in the past. We've seen him play Soldier 76, like Sombra. We know how good he is on Diva, like
Roadhog.
It's very like the Swiss Army knife.
well, they're like
Yeah, it is.
they're like a team that, like, you know,
are
they're scary at the end of the year. No, but I'm trying to say, like, they're a team that, like, if the meta like were to shift like drastically, like, I would trust the London Spitfire to figure it out, have the pieces to figure it out,
Oh,
almost
absolutely,
faster than
yeah.
anybody else.
Well, I don't
okay.
know about figuring it out, though. Hasn't that always been London's problem? They've got 3 players. Like, their tank line is arguably the most skilled tank line in the
Yes.
entirety of the league. Gesture, Fury, and now, if you include Prophet in that, who normally plays DPS. But that's a nutty trio of players that you've got there. And yet they're not able to consistently dominate the league in the same way that the
But
top
remember
3
what
are.
happened last year? It's like Birdring, like, kind of like didn't really have a great beginning.
Yeah, he had the wrist injury.
He wasn't having a great time,
Yeah.
right? And then he kind of figures out his role at the end of the year and turns it on, like, big time.
You should be able to win just based off Gesture, Fury, and Prophet, honestly.
They
'Cause
do.
These guys are nuts.
They're 11 and 7 now? Like,
Yeah, 11 and 7. I mean, that's not great for a team that potentially has a couple of candidates for best player in the world.
But I
Like,
mean,
that's not that great.
I get what you're saying, Sideshow, but you got to give them a little credit, judging
they
off of
played
how
great
they were
here.
2 weeks ago to now.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, the reason that we have high standards for the London Spitfire is because we know that they're capable of incredible heights.
Right.
And so,
You're just-
yes, great adaptation from London today.
You're-
I want to see more. I
Are
wanna
you
see
saying
more
they're
from
not
this
championship caliber at this particular moment?
At this point in time, no, and I wish that I knew what I could do to take the individual pieces of, like, Prophet, candidate for best player in the world, Fury, one of the best players in the world on his role, Gesture, incredible, Badosian, ridiculous. This team should be all-star, bopping people day in, day out.
Right. I agree. We expect a little more from our reigning champions, but I mean, it was so close against the NYXL. Just a matter of a couple of seconds, this match could have flipped and you wouldn't be saying these things. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
true.
know. All right, well, guys, we touched on it at the half, but so after the first 2 maps, it looked like Sabiel beat Sombra outclassed Prophet. So how did you feel it played out for the rest of the match?
I mean, Prophet had a lot of big plays as well. So if we're taking a look at the numbers, they do look rather close, honestly. Like hero damage done, as well as the final blows. In terms of hacks, Prophet was even ahead. However, Prophet did die a little bit more. He got focused down a little bit more as well. And I think generally just New York played better around an enemy Sombra than London in the end did. So Sabiel just got a little bit more done for his team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Sabiobi's has developed into a better Sombra than Prophet. I don't think he's had the game time particularly. I think Prophet had a couple of mistakes, like throwing down weird translocators and trying to take picks, whereas New York is super good at being able to hack a specific target and then win the fight based off just that one hack.
yeah, give Prophet 2 weeks, so I bet he figured it out.
Yeah, I think so, probably.
Quick study.
That guy plays anything.
A lot of Prophet's EMPs, though, were like, he'd get a 6-man EMP, but the rest of his team is not in position to be able to follow it up. Now, this was sick. Prophet hacked Sabiobi out of using his EMP. It's a little bit lucky, but crazy time.
A little bit lucky. He's above him. He has no idea he's even there.
Yeah, it's a little bit lucky, like I said. It's a huge wedge of skill.
What's your a lot of luck? What's your a lot of luck look like?
You making it to Masters, that took a lot of luck and a little bit of boosting from your field.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's spicy. Right there, bro.
Every
That was
time I
spicy.
play with Sideshow, you're just trying to take me down.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I'm on a
man.
personal mission to undo the boosting.
Matt, you're a permanent member of the desk now. You're getting it, man.
Nah,
You're
I
getting
like it. I like it. This is fun.
All right, guys. Well, coming up after the break, we'll find out if the Dragons could avenge their loss to the Valiant by taking down the other LA team, the Gladiators. That's next on the Watchpoint Post Show.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
the second match of the day would pit the powerhouse San Francisco Shock against the Florida Mayhem. If you were expecting this match to be a blow-up, well, you guessed correctly. But it is to be said that the Mayhem put points on the board and looked a bit better today. Small victories.
Ever since LeBron left, Florida ain't been the same, man.
I think
It's
LeBron
been
might
rough.
be able to put up similar levels
Hey.
of performance.
I don't think LeBron could help the Mayhem.
This,
This was a game of Overwatch, and we all got to witness it. And to be frank, though, I did like seeing more DPS coming out of Florida Mayhem.
It's got to be tough for Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
It's
just in the
tough.
well, I mean, just in the sense that you know that there's other players being brought in, and
Yeah.
like the excitement around them is that they're going to come in and fix it. So like you're just kind of sitting there like, well, I guess I'm the problem. Like you're just kind of like waiting for these new players.
yeah, but
to
you
take
could
over.
also
It's
try
tough.
not to be the problem. I mean, the way to fix that
I think they're
is-
trying not to be.
Are they, well,
I mean, they look like
Maybe.
they tried.
At times.
They look like they tried today, though. They put points
There
on
were
the
some
board.
moments that were close.
Yeah.
Like it was like
Come on, guys. Let's not
don't
jump.
try and
yeah.
tell me that this was a close game, Matt Morello.
We're not
I
saying
watched
it's-
the whole thing. I saw.
We're not going to sit here and say it's close, but we can say that Florida performed
They
better
had
than
moments.
they have been.
They had moments.
Yeah, Florida had some moments.
I mean, this
their
is
offense
a
here
beast
was-
of an opponent to go up against.
It really
like,
is.
it is hard for the best teams in the league to go up against the San Francisco Shock. So I think any small victory you can take away from it, definitely be proud of it. And I do think that Florida Mayhem got a few good picks, even maybe one or two team fights as well. So, yeah.
I really like their DPS comps. I think that's good. I think BQB is a player they can build around. I thought Hagapun, I mean, I guess they take him out just because of hero pool, but I thought Hagapun was playing really well before map 3.
Yeah.
This last one was just kind of crazy. Though.
Yeah. How do you guys think Fate is fitting into this lineup so far?
It's difficult.
Is it hard to
say.
notice?
Yeah,
You
it
don't
really
know
is
yet.
because Fate's under so much pressure, and the whole of Mayhem don't really understand how to relieve the pressure from him.
Yeah.
They don't take aggressive angles. They don't have star caliber players on their Diva or Zarya. And star caliber doesn't just mean you can aim on people better. Like star caliber in Overwatch is about making decisions better than your opponents. So actually being able to recognize opportunities to take flanks and relieve that pressure.
I think Fate probably misses space right now. Like you can tell in terms of like the peel that you get from a Diva when you compare like Zephyr to Space. I think Space just really did a nice job of keeping him alive on the Valiant. He's missing that now on Florida.
Well, guys, one of the bright spots for the Florida Mayhem today was definitely BQB on Sombra. Unfortunately for BQB, though, sometimes even the best come up short. Josh, why don't you take us through what happened in our first installment of a little bit we call You Hate to See It.
Yeah, this was a bit of you hate to see it. So you must have seen it in the game. It was
Just
one
keep
of the
showing his
funniest
face. You
things
hate to see it.
It's
Love the grin you have plastered all over your
It's
face
one of the
right
funniest
now.
things I've ever
Do
seen.
you really hate
in
to see it, though?
Overwatch. Yeah, I love to see it. But I'll take you through this play, which was BQB on Volskaya. But we'll run this through a couple of times just for it. I want to mention as well, just look at the time at the top here. This is the first action that he takes on his offense. He just, what? Boom. I'm going to just wind that back from that POV again. Because he just goes full speed straight into this wall, straight into the river.
Hey,
I've never
BQB,
seen
I love you, dog. I don't know if I can defend this.
Diving in with the
tried.
splash.
All right, okay, so here's my take.
Surfing
Okay,
USA.
I think what could have happened, maybe, hopefully.
Maybe,
Can you
hopefully.
slow it down?
Oh, I can slow it
Did he get? Okay, no, never mind.
No.
I hope that
Yo.
Fate kind of pushed him with the ball because they're hitting the corner.
Okay,
but
so the defense attorney, so Shrimpensky says
I'm trying.
that
Did he-
BQB was nudged by the ball. Was BQB nudged by the ball?
No.
No.
Our survey says
It was-
no.
I tried. It's all I can do for you, my mate.
I think what actually happens here is that he's aiming just to jump across the
Yeah,
angle,
but he doesn't-
But he didn't even
Jump.
jump. There was no jumping
Yeah,
action.
I think his left hand just kind of stopped working and he forgot to press the
Keep it going, keep it going.
Hate
Keep
it.
it going, keep it
I mean,
going.
I've got many different angles. I'll
Yeah,
run
I
you
just
through
want
it.
you to keep it running. Keep it running, Josh.
I also think you come
over
out of
again.
the half like just kind of getting blasted by the shock. I mean, they have 6 minutes in the bank at this time, and you just kind of mentally just
lovely.
You
This gets
Lovely.
better every time I see
Yeah,
it.
can we see it one more time?
You
Perfectly
forget.
done.
Rolling.
Oh, I can wind it back for you if you want
No,
to see it one more
it doesn't
time.
go. There's no
No.
more. Oh, okay.
No,
Jeez,
never mind.
I love that. Well, guys, that was you hate to see it.
Oh, there it
Oh, wait,
is.
here it is. Hit
There's you,
it.
Malik.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Here you go,
Let's
Malik.
Yes. One more time. Yes. Yes. Oh, we're getting all the angles again.
I wish we had a player cam.
Oh, man.
I want to see
I
a
love
player face cam for that one.
That
I
is
love
really
it.
unfortunate.
That was very fulfilling.
Doa tweeted afterwards, many players have fallen off the map on Volskaya, but BKB's was the most efficient.
Doa's tweeting that because he's done it before.
Oh, yeah.
Doa's just like, I found somebody else.
Doa's the
who's-
master.
who's done it.
Relatable.
Relatable. Oh, man, BQB, even though he had a good game, that was a tough one. All right, guys. Now, moving on to our next match, still fighting for a spot in the stage playoffs, the Shanghai Dragons. We're hoping to avoid the LA sweep today by taking down the Los Angeles Gladiators. And girl, this set was a magnificent one. We got loads of DPS comps, Surefoot versus DMO Widow, the list goes on. The Dragons getting a little redemption after that loss to the Valiant last night.
Yeah,
I did not expect this.
I think...
None of us did. That's why we all picked the Gladiators to win.
Right, but I think this was one of the closest games, in my opinion. And I do think the Shanghai Dragons are actually a really good team. I think what this shows, though, is that there's stylistic differences. And if you're not the kind of team that can counter Shanghai, they can still bop you. Because Gladiators were running a lot of triple tank, triple support. They didn't try to match them at DPS the same way that the Valiant did. I think unless you can match them, you're going to have a really tough time. Because Shanghai just know exactly how to play around GOATs at this point.
Oh, yeah, they did a phenomenal job. And here on Eichenwald, got some more interesting looks, being on that Pharah.
He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, he only needs to, like, you kind of, like, worry about players like Hero Pool and whatnot. Like, he literally just needs to play Far and Sombra. Like, he is that good at those two heroes that, like, you can make it work.
His Hanzo is ridiculous as well. If we ever get to see him play Hanzo, things are monster.
Oh, they'd be nasty, like a double sniper type of scenario, like Widow Hanzo.
So what was going on with the Gladiators today? Because many would believe that this should have been their match to win, given that they like to play these type of
I mean,
comps.
I don't think that they played bad, per se. I think that they just kind of got... It got very chaotic, which is just the nature of having more DPS on the map. And I think Gladiators just maybe didn't quite expect that. I think Shanghai just was able to, like, really push the tempo onto them, and the Gladiators didn't really respond to that quick enough.
I think
It wasn't badly played by the Gladiators.
Yeah.
Did you think the Gladiators, Josh, needed to play some different comps?
Yeah.
Like, I think what the Valiant,
yeah.
what the Valiant did to the Dragons was, like, force them to play things that they didn't really want to play in certain scenarios.
Yeah, like KSF was playing a bunch of Widow as well and going
Yeah.
toe-to-toe with DM.
Well, because you know
they could have definitely done that.
You know they're going to have at least one damage dealer out there at all times.
Right.
Like, they're not going to play any diva. Like, you're going to be able to get away with
And
stuff.
Gladiators can. They do have players who can switch to other heroes.
Sure.
So I guess it's just a matter of them maybe not having practiced much on it,
Yeah,
considering that
yeah.
the meta just didn't really ask.
And I think that's a
require
really
it.
important point, because I've talked to a couple of the coaches now that the meta's moving in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I was asking them, why aren't you matching DPS in these scenarios? And they're like, the team is, often teams get split between the idea of playing optimal compositions that they've never practiced before,
Right.
and they don't really want to do that because they haven't practiced them, or playing suboptimal compositions that they have practiced a lot. So they've practiced a ton of GOATs, but GOATs isn't the best thing to play in that scenario, but you play it because everyone knows what their job is there. But if someone calls for, like, the best composition in that situation, you've not really practiced on it. You don't know who's going to play the roles. You don't exactly know where people
It's a
are
scramble.
positioned.
Yeah,
But I think you have to. Like, I think you have to be flexible enough to make those decisions on the fly. And we see teams like Houston Outlaws and like the Valiant actually have a lot of success doing that, where they just trust in themselves.
Isn't that like where like in-game leadership kicks in as well? Like, if you have somebody like on the stage with you that you trust a lot. Like, if you're the Outlaws, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And like, let's say like Jake or Raucus calls for something, like some kind of crazy compositional switch. Those guys probably just go to the spawn and do it. They don't even like question
I wouldn't
it.
argue
Like,
with Jake, because if you do the wrong thing, Jake will just keep talking about how you did the wrong thing until you basically melt down. He'll just talk your ear off.
But like, maybe
until
the
you
Gladiators
melt into
need
a
that
powder.
like that real strong presence in the lineup that
Yeah.
like kind of demands those types of switches.
That's the
and makes
problem.
it
If
happen.
that strong presence is only coming from your coaches and you don't have it with you on stage, then you can talk during halftime as much as you want, or prior to the game, or after the game. It doesn't really help you to react during the game. So if you don't have a player who does that,
They might just respect the coach's decision that much as well.
I would assume these guys have playbooks by now, right? You can't run I formation every play. You got to be able to audible to the dime or whatever. You know? I would assume so. Well, you know, as the Overwatch league
Sideshow's like, I
continues,
have no idea what the I formation of the dime is.
It's a football thing, but yeah.
I just smiled and nodded, and I didn't get called out. You get
My
called in the
bad.
face, so
I keep
that's on you.
forgetting.
Well,
American
I
football.
formation in
Because he
soccer?
looked at me like,
No,
wait, what?
it's American football. It's
Yeah,
a
don't
formation.
worry about it.
And,
Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
you know.
Fake
Well, guys,
football.
now that we're partway through week 3, let's take a look at the stage 3 standings, because after today, things are shaking up a little bit. The Dragons jumped the Gladiators here in the standings with that W. So they're sitting in the top 8 for our stage playoffs. And there are 5 teams right now sitting at 3-1. So it is really a toss-up on who's going to be able to make the stage playoffs between those teams. Also, the Valiant and Outlaws, they haven't made a stage playoff at all this year. And that's huge, especially with the Valiant. You know, they were our stage 4 champions last year. Here they are, back in the stage playoff contention.
For me, it's the fuel, man. Going down to 15th, 1-4, -10. I mean, they had such a good start to this season. They're really trying to bounce back after a lot that went on last year. And this state, I mean, you hope, like, if you're a Dallas Fuel fan, and I mean, you just gotta be fans of the guys. They had a rough year last year. They don't look back at the end of the season and be like, man, these matches we kind of threw away in stage 3 isn't the end of our season.
This is going to be the best stage playoffs we've ever had, though.
I would agree, yeah.
I agree.
Because Titans and Shock are up there, yeah, but Excelsior are looking better than they ever have done. Spark are looking like they might be able to contest them as well. And Dynasty and Outlaws have a couple of looks that they can throw in there too. So I could really, I think this is going to be an excellent stage 3 playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up. Any of these teams can win. But guys, coming up after the break, we've got the most over-the-top moments of the day. Don't go anywhere. More watch points coming up.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, the best of the best will definitely be at the grand finals in Philly, and the best of the best was on display today. Let's take a look at our most over-the-top moments of the day, starting off with Prophet's Hanzo, which was a serious problem on map 5.
Yo, get me in a ranked game with this guy on my team. Sign me up. Yeah,
You would actually have to be good to get Prophet on.
That's true, it's true. I'm sure he's not playing.
Flashback to our grand finals. Keeping it moving, Slime doing his thing with the Januk setup.
Man, Slime is just such a good player. His map awareness and general awareness of what is happening during teamfights is actually unmatched in this league.
He's
real
phenomenal.
big brain.
He doesn't get caught out too much and still manages to make big plays like this.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful setup. Love seeing Lucio's setup. All right, moving along. You got the Battle Mercy we saw from EV2 earlier today. You had to put this one on here for all my Mercy players out there. I know you very much enjoyed this.
This is giving Mercy players out there the wrong ideas. Once you pop Valk, please heal.
No, if you play against me, please do this. Please do this, 100%.
Man, I like what I
flying around.
Yeah, this is great. This is exactly how I play Mercy.
Yeah,
Moving along.
That's actually true.
And then I heal a Transcending Zen.
Nene popping off hardcore on McCree earlier that I involved. This was a lovely play right here.
So much going on his screen. How does he even hit these? Oh, the headshots.
He's like about to get EMP'd, and it wouldn't have even made any difference.
And our number one is Surfer on that Roadhog. Hawk Champ. Go ahead, type it in the chat. You guys know you want to.
Whenever I see like a sick Roadhog play, I always think back to that Taimu clip on Hollywood from it's with Apex, like really far back.
Yeah.
The sickest Roadhog.
Yeah,
I think of Himsy from Ninjas on Pajamas.
The summer of '92, that was.
Yeah. I was watching in black and white. You know, they didn't have the internet.
On my
really.
CRT.
Yeah.
No love for Himsy?
Yeah, that's a throwback too.
Only real OGs know Snizzle nose.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, let's check out our Twitch cheerleader board. I did it yesterday, so Josh, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, Atlanta Reign still a million bits ahead of everybody else. And Hangzhou Spark are in second place. A million bits down from them is fourth. That ain't bad. But then a million bits down from Dallas Fuel, you're not even on the table. So Atlanta Reign is still just absolutely swimming in the money like Scrooge McDuck. Just
Who?
Scrooge McDuck.
DuckTales.
Yeah, it was like the...
That's how you call him in English?
Why? What do you call him?
He's actually, I think he's on
And our
the
individual
Uncle
leaderboard.
On our individual
Exactly, just
leaderboard.
Uncle.
Just absolutely derailing things. Sorry, but don't mind. I'll get back on track. Shocked Shelby in #1 position. Love the use of emotes. Very, very lovely. Old Norris from the Republic of China. Loving you. Thank you. And Cham or 81 with 8100 bits.
Where's that? Oh, that guy.
Guy's
Okay.
number
I was
10.
like,
I'm
I was
reading
like, where are you reading?
Huh? Kamudi?
Kamubi.
Kamubi.
Kamu
Yeah.
81.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Malik should never
Shouts
let
out to
Josh
all
do it
those
again.
guys who are donating and showing us all the love. And while we're on the subject of Twitch, be sure to go get your Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch, because coming up right after Watchpoint, you won't want to miss a live Q&A with Seominsu from the Vancouver Titans exclusively with that All Access Pass. But guys, we're not done yet. On the other side of this break, we're going to take a look at what's in store for tomorrow. So don't go anywhere. More Watchpoint coming up.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Here at Evoltol with a 3K, takes out Closer, turns around with the blaster. Goodbye, Zachary to the melee. And why not another DPS to add to his collection with AK?
See the Valiant just trying to retreat indoors to stay away from all this pressure that Hotfire is applying.
Rafa has the barrage, and he goes for it!
And triple kill instantly, make it 5 really, as Space is taken out of that mech board. Boy, very close. Now he has that Graviton Surge. They're getting a grab first, so Spark getting aggressive here. Can they get the kills out of it? No. Grab gets used by Corey as well. Sans himself to Spark. He gets 3. Amazing move comes in from Justice Arc, setting it up for the 3K off that self-destruct. No supports here for Toronto Defiant. Charge coming up from beyond. But will be able to take down Mendoza. Turns around. He gets a shatter.
Welcome back!
Oh man, welcome back indeed. Might have just single-handedly turned that one around, and he has. It's a dead eye. All right, everybody just backs around the corner. That's going to pave the way. Oh, they can't. Oh, the flashbang. Oh, no, the huge flashbang. That flashbang hit like 3 people. All right, this round is weird. But the Hunters are going to be able to take the point back, and they are 99% already OG.
Looking ahead tomorrow, it all starts with London up against Washington. The Atlanta Rays still on the hunt for their first win of Stage 3. They face off against the Philadelphia Fusion. Toronto goes up against the Guangzhou Charge, and the Hangzhou Spark are up against the Seoul Dynasty to finish off the day. So with all that going on, what are you guys most excited for tomorrow? So, you know, we love to start with you, so.
Ah, thank
Dish
you,
out.
Malik. And you know what I love? I love the Atlanta Reign. So I want to see them finally getting that first victory, and that's very doable tomorrow, as the Philadelphia Fusion has not been looking too hot. Yes, they did get a win against Boston, but Boston is not looking too good right now. So I do think that Atlanta Reign, they have a very difficult schedule this stage. They played all the really top teams to a very close game. I do think tomorrow should be the elusive W for them.
You don't think Atlanta's going to struggle a little bit now that Philly's kind of embracing playing more
No.
DPS these days? No?
No.
Ooh, all right. Definitive. No.
No.
All right. Lovely. Josh, what about you?
I'm going to be looking at that Seoul Spark game. I want to see if Seoul's project of splitting up their rosters and mixing people around can actually match up to a team that has had the same core and really try to make that the best possible roster that they can put forwards. We've been given a lot of props to Seoul for having 2 different looks. Is it going to hurt them in the long run? We'll find out when they play against Spark.
And for me, it's on the opposite side of the matchup. It's with the Hangzhou Spark. I'm excited to see if they can really prove that they're one of the top 4 teams in the league. I think right now, they are. I think they just need to prove it to, I feel like, everybody. They need to get wins against those top teams. You know, they played the Vancouver Titans very tough. You know, they've gotten some good wins over some other teams. They had a very long win streak from stage 2 to stage 3. It's just I need to see more. I need to see more against the top teams. They have an opportunity tomorrow.
Where's the Seoul Dynasty sitting for you? I'm curious to know.
Well, I thought they were around the same area, but I think Seoul's probably somewhere like 5 to 8.
Are they a middle of the pack team?
6 to 8.
Yeah, it's hard to place them. They don't look as good as Spark, but they look similar to the level of like Shanghai, Gladiators, those kind of teams.
They just haven't been as consistent as some of the other teams, which is making it really, really hard to play.
That might happen when you have 2 totally
that might be
Yeah,
it.
it's like we see Seoul just like dunking on like, you know, the bottom teams, but then when it comes to the top teams, like they don't really put up those same level of performances. So like I think you kind of have to put them like anywhere from 5 to 8, determining on like just where they are, like in terms of the standings. But like you can't kind of go any higher with them because you just don't trust them against some of those top teams.
All right, well, it's going to be interesting to see how they measure up against the Spark tomorrow. But guys, that's a wrap for us. It's time for the weekend. Puckett and Company will be back tomorrow at 11:30 Pacific. Zoe and I are going to Hogwarts. So until then, everybody enjoy the weekend. We'll see you later.
On the side of the NYXL.
Las luces.
Blizzard Arena and everybody else watching.